was the original ones that were behind it, California Highway Patrol. And just like any other law enforcement, they have different divisions, and they've been handing it off as they've been making their way south down that 5 freeway. This is the first time we've actually seen that vehicle use its brakes in quite some time. Now, it's a 5 freeway. We're in the Lincoln Heights area, Boyle Heights now. That's how quick we're moving, and there is a lot of heavy traffic. Now, this vehicle been on the 5 almost the entire time we've been listening to this pursuit, and the California Highway Patrol, they are here in force. You can see one of them right there, kind of just almost paralleling. Are they going to try to do a pit maneuver? Probably not on the freeway, especially not at these high speeds. Quick maneuver right there, getting over to the right lanes, and now still you can see that front end dipping constantly because that driver hitting the gas, hitting the brake, hitting the gas, hitting the brake. That's not good for that vehicle. That's going to really start heating up those brakes, and then those brakes may fail. That's always something to think about, especially with these heavier vehicles and that hard driving on that vehicle. There we go again, picking up those speeds and it's making his way past a lot of this traffic. Whenever they zip by any of these cars that are just driving along in that traffic or at those lower speeds, I'm always concerned about anybody that's in there. Look at that right there, coming up on the back of that person. If they're looking in that rearview mirror, they just got to wonder what is going on. Now, as far as law enforcement's concerned, you've got California Highway Patrol on the ground. You have an LAPD helicopter in the air joining, helping out the officers on the ground. But also California Highway Patrol has brought their plane in here as well. Now, the plane is up a little bit higher than the LAPD helicopter. Everybody, a lot of eyes on this vehicle as it's continuing now, staying now on the westbound 10, as you can see, making our way through Central City. If you don't know where that is, just think about downtown. That's really the best way to think about it. Nobody says Central City, but that vehicle's still desperate to get away. We haven't seen anybody really kind of get away in a long time, but this big SUV, those high speeds, very, very dangerous, and I'm very concerned about the safety of anybody on the roadway that's suspect, and of course officers that are nearby trying to keep up with this erratic driving.
Yes, erratic. Look at that as we see this vehicle weaving through traffic right there in the downtown area and then bumping into, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
For no reason at all. Here we go. So you're seeing
for no reason
him.
at all. And and you know, yeah, and you know that person is just going to stop because that's what they're supposed to do. I'm taking a look. There's the first chance we can actually kind of look around inside the car. It looks like I'm not sure what he's doing. It was like I thought he was going for the seatbelt there for a moment. Also, we don't see anybody else in the front passenger seat. That doesn't mean there isn't anybody in the back. Burglary suspects, sometimes they travel. There's usually more than one, but in this case, it appears to be just the driver. That big expedition is on an expedition today, and keeping law enforcement at bay is what they're trying to do. You can see it now, still picking up speed again. I wonder what happened to that civilian. They got bumped twice, as far as I could tell.
I mean,
right?
but why does also...
you just got to wonder.
Yeah, I'm wondering why he needs to ram into the back of a vehicle right there when he can definitely weave through the traffic and go into another lane and go around cars. Instead, he was bumping the bumper of that white sedan, as we saw, and I don't know what happened to that driver. Thankfully, not a lot of damage. Hopefully they're okay, no whiplash, but you could see the back window, it looks like, of the Expedition down a little bit. But what I'm noticing too, and Stu, you were mentioning the erratic driving of this, but kind of the bouncing nature of the Expedition, the back end is kind of bouncing. Is that because it's going so fast, or it's not really even going really high speeds?
Yeah, you know, it might be something with that vehicle. It's not a new truck, that is for sure. Who knows what's wrong with the rear shocks? Maybe they tried to modify the truck at one point. Can't really say, but very good eye indeed. I noticed that earlier on too. It's kind of got that rear bounce, like somebody had taken the shocks out of the back, and it's just riding on the springs. California Highway Patrol, they are still here in force. They've kind of handed it off to other divisions as they're making their way south out here. But I keep hearing them talking about Altadena is the ones that are in it for the go, meaning that it might be their car that they have been chasing the entire time. That doesn't really make sense to me because it started on the 5 freeway up in like Santa Clarita, and I don't know, maybe Altadena was following this vehicle at one time, but right now still trying to keep those high speeds up, zipping through passing cars out there. He might be going 57, but look how quickly he passes when he does. Those other vehicles probably just going about 30, maybe 20 miles an hour, dipping back into that emergency lane. He's staying on the freeway. That's the only thing that I can say maybe part of a positive out here, because there aren't a lot of intersections. There's no traffic signals, nothing like that, or pedestrians for that matter. But right now, these high speeds still always worry me.
He just took out a side mirror from that other car or his own car. Right there as he travels along the emergency lane, but you could see all these vehicles in the fast lane saying, what is going on, trying to move over. But I did see some plastic and glass flying, so definitely took out a mirror at some point. I don't know if we could see the other side of that or if it was that black car that he kind of scraped against, but really erratic driving here, even though it's not super high speeds that we're watching, but a lot of braking and then speeding up, weaving, going in and out of traffic, and then bumping into a car for no reason when he could go around, but clearly not the sight you want to see as traffic is kind of slow and going at a relatively calm pace. And then you see this guy in the white Expedition, kind of making these weird moves.
I'm trying to follow him too.
Yep, as we go under the highway.
So this is one of the ones where, he went underneath. He's on that low side. We're going to come over here. Maybe he pops out on the other side. My pilot says he sees him, so that's got to be him right there. Woo! Okay, that took a load off of my mind.
But
Sorry.
look at how bouncy it is. Like, the back of that car bouncing is just so odd.
It is. It's definitely, I can tell you there's probably no shocks, or the shocks are completely worn out and it's just riding on the springs back there. That's also going to affect the performance of the vehicle, especially if he's going to start making high turns, or if he gets off the freeway and starts getting onto side streets. Anytime he goes through an intersection, that rear end might get air. You can see that mirror right there. That's what you were asking about earlier on. It looks like he damaged his own. Any of those folks that are being hit by this vehicle, I'm sure they're going to make some sort of call to 911 or try to report it, so they will know that that law enforcement will tell them that it probably was a vehicle they were pursuing or in pursuit of that actually made contact with their vehicle. Hopefully everybody is okay. Probably more nerves than anything else, and less than the damage to the vehicle. Right now, though, they're still moving along. These speeds are still up there. Oh, look at that, getting really close. And just a little bit off will create a collision out there, and that could change everything in a heartbeat. And we've seen it in the past, and I don't want to see something like that again. This SUV still moving out here, still, like you said, not super fast, but 60 miles an hour when everybody else is going about 20 or 30. That's quite a big difference. And again, this is a burglary suspect. California Highway Patrol in pursuit. Law enforcement above is going to be California Highway Patrol and LAPD. And of course, the officers on the ground trying to warn the public the best they can, lights and sirens, and just stay in there and nearby. Hopefully when this vehicle comes to a stop, they'll be able to take that suspect into custody quickly without any incident or having to call any kind of emergency vehicles.
Yeah, we certainly hope that's the case, but you never know with this type of situation, as we've seen so many times, because you just don't know the mindset of the driver behind that wheel. And as you mentioned, it is a robbery suspect, but this initially took place in Santa Clarita, and now we're all the way over here in downtown LA. So clearly this has been going on for at least 30 minutes or so, right, as this person hopped into the white Expedition there. Unknown why this person is driving this way and why the vehicle is kind of acting a certain funny way without any shocks in the back, but clearly trying to get away from whatever it is he's running from. But again, starting in the Santa Clarita area, Stu.
Definitely, that's the area that we heard about it. Actually, I got a little bit heads up that this was going on. Was trying to. It's a long story about how we gather news, but we did get heads up. I wanted to get confirmation. Our assignment desk got the confirmation before I did, and we were on the go as quickly as possible. But again, we don't know the backstory. We're hearing this is a burglary suspect, maybe with some sort of undercover something or another going on, and when they tried to pull him over, lights and sirens, that's when this person or the suspect decided to just go instead of stop. And we don't know. We don't know what other warrants this person might have, or maybe there's other issues, not just the original burglary suspect. But right now the issue is these high speeds, tight quarters, a lot of other civilians out here on the roadway. California Highway Patrol tasked with safety and bringing this thing to a stop. That's a lot on their shoulders, but right now they're handling that pretty well. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, well, you got a number, and that's not because I can't count that high. It's just there is a number of officers there behind them, and one of the reasons why also is when this comes to an end, they want to be able to spread out if there is a foot chase, get ahead of this, maybe box them in if need be. But right now just seems to be unusually high speeds, even though I'm looking at it saying it's 30 miles an hour. People might be just tuning in saying, what is this guy talking about? He's going 30. But he's been going extremely higher speeds than what the vehicles on the roadway have been doing.
Right.
And of course, California Highway Patrol, they're not going to be able to pull a pit maneuver in any kind of traffic.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, we are looking at this white Expedition making its way on the 10 freeway westbound, but clearly just minutes ago we saw this individual behind the wheel kind of rear-ending one of these innocent cars, just person on the freeway as he's trying to make its way through this area for no reason, ramming into the back of another car. So I'm glad we haven't seen that again, because he was at a point where he was stuck in traffic, but he did not make contact with another vehicle, which is a good thing. But clearly driving erratically, lost his rear view mirror right there off the side on the right passenger side. As you see, it's dangling right there. So certainly made contact with another vehicle as this is traveling on the emergency lane right here, trying to zigzag through traffic and get away from the whole situation. But clearly you never know what this person is going to do, which is why we're monitoring this and following this guy as I don't know where he's going to. Clearly a lot of times they try to go to a neighborhood or to an area where they're familiar and they know, but the destination obviously unclear as more drivers, look at that, become aware that something isn't right, something is happening with this guy behind the wheel of this white Expedition, and that's why they're trying to clear the way. But clearly when you're driving along the freeway, you don't expect this, but if you have your eyes open, you're looking at your mirrors and you see something weird, someone driving kind of strange, you get away from that vehicle if you can.
Definitely. You want to move away from that vehicle as quickly as possible. And, of course, the lights and sirens from the California Highway Patrol that are following behind, probably alerting the public as well, hey, there is something going on. You all need to be, heads up, heads on a swivel. Yep. Make sure you get out of the way if this vehicle is coming to your direction. Definitely the destination unknown at this time. And and you continue southbound on that 5 freeway. Mid-City is where we are. Actually, I'm sorry, we're on the 10 freeway right now, and we're westbound on the 10. So we were basically moving south. Now we're starting to move west. And this is, anybody that drives this area knows that there's a lot of traffic out here as we're making our way over basically to the studios in West LA. So we're keeping an eye on it. Of course, California Highway Patrol, they just want to bring this thing to an end safely. And he hasn't seemed to be getting over to the right lanes at all. So clearly, the way this person's been driving, he can see the exit he wants, makes that move very, very quickly. But sometimes we've seen those suspects make their way over a little bit to go ahead and hit one of those off ramps. Right now, though, he seems to feel very safe out here on the freeway. And again, getting very close to that box truck. I mean, tapping that is just, it isn't going to do anything for him, I can tell you that. And everybody stopped. There's something going on right there. You got a van trying to get off going across the Gore Point. Very typical Los Angeles driving right there. But a lot of slow traffic. People are starting to get over, probably because they're hearing those sirens and they're trying to get out of the way. But right now, it might actually be clearing that path for that suspect. But in any case, the safety of the public is what they are concerned about. If they're making way for that suspect so that he can get through there, nobody's hurt, that's fine with law enforcement. I can guarantee it.
That's right, but at some point you think, oh, wow, if he's trapped in, what is he going to do? Maybe that's a way for them, CHP, to get him, but this is not a video game, clearly. This is reality, and you want to make sure that people stay safe out there. But yeah, once he was behind that boxcar and box truck, you kind of wondered, oh, is he going to make a move, right? Maybe get out, or what was he going to do if he's trapped in traffic? But clearly, safety is the #1 priority as we are continuing to watch this guy make his way on the 10 freeway right there westbound. He's now going towards the right-hand lanes, but he's going now to the center lanes, and we don't know where the final destination is.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a better look at that front tire. I'm wondering if that's getting low up down there. Maybe you guys have a better vantage point. I have great monitors, don't get me wrong, but it is a little, it definitely looks like it's going flat.
Yeah.
That's going to add to the issues as well. You know, and I was going to bring that up. California Highway Patrol always has the ability to maybe get ahead of it, throw out some spike strips, especially when suspects are riding in that far right lane, that emergency lane, or that #1 lane. But yeah, that driver's side, the passenger side front, definitely going low.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue for sure. That bad shocks, bad flat tire, that SUV is going to really start getting a workout. I'm worried about the control that driver's going to have. Well, definitely we're going to stay here to see how this plays out. But again, the suspect wanted for burglary is the original want, but who knows what kind of issues that driver has. Maybe he has other warrants that will put him in jail for quite some time. But California Highway Patrol, the only thing they want right now is safety and get that suspect off the road.
Look at it. It looks like he's driving on a rim right now on the right side, passenger front tire right there. The tire's so low, it looks like it's skidding on the rim. You know, from the beginning we got on this, it looked like this vehicle was wonky, right?
There it goes.
I was always telling you, there it goes. It's shredding the tire right there. But it was always wonky because of the way this SUV was bouncing from the back. I've never seen that. So it kind of made me think like maybe there was a pit maneuver earlier on before we got up on this. But something was debilitating this vehicle. And now look at that tire.
Yeah, that tire's going to come off. Hopefully it doesn't damage anybody's car as it rolls around there on the freeway. He is starting to slow down a little bit, and you know that's actually a positive. Maybe that driver's starting to think, you know, he doesn't want to hurt himself. He doesn't want to hurt somebody else. You know, that might be starting to go through his mind. And as soon as I say that, he's bumping the speeds up, almost doubling what we were doing earlier on. That big SUV definitely can handle something like that, I am sure, but it's still just going to limit the ability for that vehicle to stop or turn. As far as those rear shocks on there, you know, I've seen cars like that in the past, especially older vehicles that have not been maintained well. But right now it looks like we're starting to move a little bit off to the right. But that does. Oh, he's got 2 flat tires.
See?
He has 2 flat tires.
Crazy.
I wonder if we missed. Did we miss a pit? I mean, did we miss a spike strip?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like somehow, some way, oh, there goes the tire completely. That this car was debilitated somehow, either with a pit maneuver or something. Maybe before we picked up on this, because it was not driving normally. That is for sure. Erratic driving and all. Okay, as it stops right here, you could see CHP, doors open, officers out. Are they approaching? Let's
Definitely,
see.
and yeah, no, they're not going to make any kind of approach. This is a burglary suspect. Possibility of that person being armed is what they're going to be waiting on. But this guy definitely seems to have played this game before. Hands out of the windows down, hands out almost right away. And, you know, this is actually a huge positive that once that vehicle became so disabled, he basically just stopped it. He said, okay, that's it. We're going to bring this to an end. Doors opening up, but he's getting out. It is still tense moments for the officers and, of course, myself as well, maybe even some of the viewers, but it clearly has played this game before. He's got his hands on his head, walking back. Yeah. They are definitely going to be calling out what they want him to do, but this does definitely seem to be coming to an end peacefully. We're on the, you can see it right there, Cheviot Hills, and we're going to be on the West 10 near Overland. I can tell you that traffic's probably backing up really quick. People are probably like, we don't want to see the traffic, we want to see him. Yeah, he's just walking back, and hopefully they're going to take him into custody very quickly. The dog, they're putting them away. So that, right now, that suspect, he's going to be getting those cuffs here in just a moment, getting him into custody. California Highway Patrol, Sandra, they are quick. They're going to get this freeway open very, very fast, get their cars out of the road, off the road, but they want to make sure that that vehicle is cleared, meaning there is nobody inside that vehicle besides the driver, and after that, I'm sure they're going to reopen that 10 freeway quickly.
This is a great ending, what we want to see, a peaceful ending to this pursuit of a robbery suspect, which started in Santa Clarita, taking us through, I guess, southbound toward the West LA Cheviot Hills area as they clear the car right here. And what a mess. The car definitely debilitated, possibly by a pit maneuver. But at one point, seeing this driver bump in and rear end an innocent bystander, somebody in a vehicle right there, it could have been much, much worse, obviously, as we saw the erratic driving, the weaving and bobbing in and out of traffic throughout the freeway right there. But again, this is the ending we'd like to see, a peaceful, calm ending, nobody hurt in all of this, and CHP doing what it does best.
Definitely, and that driver, that suspect in custody right now, definitely not a very friendly driver, that is for sure. I'm sure nobody was injured, but the bumping into other cars for no reason, that was really peculiar. I'm wondering what was that all about. But right now, he's in custody. Officers, they're doing their little briefing. You can see them making their way back to their cars. California Highway Patrol, they want to get that freeway open quickly. Right now, though, they still have it blocked, but I'm sure they're going to have some lanes open here in just a moment. Again, this is on the westbound 10 in the Cheviot Hills area. Send it back to you, Sandra.
All right, Stu, up in Sky Fox and the crew, thank you for that.